I think one of the biggest pieces of propaganda we've experienced, especially as Gen Z people, is the idea that your 20s is just going to be the most awesome time of your life and like everything's going to be amazing. And I'm not saying that you can't have fun in your 20s and it's all doom and turmoil, but like I find it so funny because I feel like it has to be like a generational misunderstanding because I feel like these days it's so hard to kind of just say, "Oh, just go travel the world," because of the economy and the dollar not being worth as much as it used to be, say back in the 90s or 80s. Because what I've often find with the 20s is that our 20s are low key kind of like an origin story where you look at Spider-Man's origin story, it's not sunshine and rainbows, but it kind of does develop into who he is as a character. But like, I feel like that's the same thing with the 20s is that I feel like so much of our lives are riding on who we're going to be. Like, I honestly would argue, even though 20s is like a time of experimentation, I also think it's probably the biggest pressure we feel throughout our lives because realistically, this is the time in our lives where we'll have the most strength, we'll be the most energetic, to be the most young besides our child years, be the most young with actual like decisions and consequences. That yeah, there's like a lot of pressure riding on us in our 20s. I think one of my favorite quotes is from Spider-Man. It's like paraphrase where everyone knows the with great power, great responsibility speech, but I feel like people don't pay attention to the part of the speech where he says, "Look, man, these are the times where a man decides who he's going to be for the rest of his life. Just be careful who you turn into." Now, that's not an exact quote, but it's kind of been sticking with me lately because I'd be thinking with a lot of my decisions or the way I'm acting, it's like, this person that I am right now, if I'm not careful, this I could be some of my worst qualities for the rest of my life. It's so important that I kind of self-reflect because I'm personally like a really big overthinker. So I'm always hyper analyzing my intentions, my beliefs, and it's very difficult at times because it's just like, dang, man, like what do I believe? Because like that has been something I've really struggled with recently as a person. It's just like, what is it that I generally believe? Like, obviously, I believe in like more bigger concepts of like right and wrong, and I do believe in second chances. But like, life is so much more complex than just those simple beliefs of like, oh, you should be nice to people, and it can be very difficult. And I feel like the 20s is such an experimental time. It is truly a weird time because I remember I'll see social media posts where like you'll know people who are getting married, you'll know people who still have to ask for your parents permission. Like no one's really, it's not as like your youth years where like everyone when you're like a kid, what you guys kind of all deal with is kind of all the same. Like I one thing I kind of learned about my 20s is that it's the first time in our lives where we're kind of given a choice, where we're really able to choose what life we're going to live. Because like when you're in college, no, not college, when you're in high school or like regular grade school, your life and what you do pretty much is always planned for you. Like you're kind of always told exactly what to do, even if it's not directly from your parents. Like, go to grade school, get through, go from sixth grade to seventh grade, go from fourth grade to fifth grade. Like everything is just planned for you. But once you kind of exit high school, sure, you can go to college, but even with college, you're still given like a choice to choose what should I study, what do I do, what college do I go to. Like it really is all up to you. And I remember my friend, he was telling me about some of his struggles recently in life and how life has kind of given him a bad hand. Like he told me like his microwave got stolen, right? And that wasn't like the worst of his problems, but it was something he mentioned. He's like, "Look, you seem like you have it all together." And it's just like, I really don't have it all together. Like, I have some things together, but like at the end of the day, I'm kind of just having this belief that, yeah, like I'm gonna find a way. And I told him to find a way. It's like, I don't think anyone truly has it together in their 20s just because there's so much of like developing of what kind of person you're going to be and your beliefs. Like, I feel like in my 20s, I'm constantly unpacking what I actually believe. Because, like, I obviously don't believe the exact same things I believed when I was like 14, right? But, like, it's hard for me to figure out like what are the things that I need to keep and what are the things I need to throw away. And I think a lot of us are dealing with that right now. And I feel like that's why the 20s is so weird. It's like, yeah, you could have fun and explore the world, but like a lot of us don't got the money for that. A lot of us got to work. And I don't know, the 20s, it is truly like a weird time in our lives. But I just want to talk about that. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.